Forsaken has 4 different sentinels. Each of them have different abilities and playstyles, but they all have the same goal: to stun the killer, to protect themselves and their team. In this video, I will be showing you the best sentinel in Forsaken. To make this as fair as possible, I will be using a 1 to 4 ranking system, awarding points on their rankings. Multiple rankings will be given, judging everything the sentinel provides for his team and for himself. In-game advantages only. This means skins and lore are oblivious to this video. How this ranking system will work is that the sentinel who does best in a category, for example stunning, will get first place in that category. Second best will get place set 2. Third place will place 3. And fourth will place 4. Rankings will make the sentinels gain or lose points. And at the end, whoever has the most points will be the best sentinel. First place gets 1 point, second gets half a point, third place loses half a point, and fourth place loses an entire point. Starting off with survivor health and stamina stat. All survivors have the same stamina and speed, so that can't be judged. Their health, on the other hand, can be. Number 1 goes to Chance, for being able to reach 130 health. Although inconsistent, you will most likely always have similar health to Guest, so it evens out even in bad situations. Just have to gamble enough. In this situation, you can see I have 112 health. I didn't even have to gamble that much. Number 2 goes to Guest for being bulky enough to withstand 4 M1s from the killer, which makes him a very good decision and sentinel who can tank in a lot of shots. Placing number 3 is Shadletsky. He doesn't have anything too impressive, but 100 standard health is definitely worth using. Placing number 4 is 2-time with only 80 health. He is very fragile compared to any other survivor, but it still keeps him alive, so it's good enough. Due to Shadletsky not being a passive, excluding him this round. 2-time gains 1 point for his ablation meter, granting him a second life, which is easily the best passive for any survivor. Guest gains 0 points for his extra 15 health, nothing much else to say, apart from him being more bulky than normally, but Chance beats him in that, making it not that oblivious. Chance loses a point though for having the worst passive in the game, which is a lot more hurtful than helpful, since at best you'll have as much health as Duscar, which isn't even that much. Now moving on to the best ability they all have, which is their stun ability, which is easily the most important. So I try to make it as fair as possible to take in account consistency, map dependence, and teamwork into consideration. 2-time gets first place with a stun that not only heals him for 20 HP, but also has a 3.5 stun time. Although it does require some teamwork, it's not too map dependent, and since it's an instant stun due to the knife having no windup, it makes up for its resistance 1, which is quite petty and quite useless. Chance gets second place, even though he doesn't have any resistance when firing, and is very map dependent because he can't shoot in elevation. Having a gun still is worth all those debuffs, although you might have a malfunction with your gun, you still have a higher chance of being safe because of your distance, unless you're trying to shoot point blank, but that's not very smart to do. Guest gets third place due to being the second least punishing stun of all, and being the most challenging one to pull off and the easiest one to bait. But it's still more than viable. Though the map could potentially improve his punishment of his stun, he just doesn't really have what all the other stunners have, apart from Shadletsky, which gets fourth due to his horrible stun time, his long wind-up speed, his loud slash, and his map dependence, due to him taking a long time to actually set up and, pull off a stun. Now moving on to secondary abilities. My second ability Secondary ability, I mean the second most important ability that all Sentinels have. Though these abilities don't really help much, they are still useful and will still be getting ranked. First place goes to Shedletsky, since his chicken heals nearly as much as Elliot's pizza when all generators are completed. I mean, it's a difference of 4 health, it's not that much. It's also half of what a medkit heals you, with not too much time wasted. Second place goes to 2 times, since this ability allows backstabs to not only be easier to pull off, and is very useful against Kulkin minions and unstable eye, and kind of useful when no teleports. I mean, then again, crouching does nerf your walk speed and run speed, but it's not too bad because of all the buffs you get. First place goes to Guest. His charge is quite map dependent and good to use, since it has a long cooldown, not to mention how it becomes less useful when there are other guests on the team, but although it is very practical if you don't have a block, and it's basically get out of jail free card since you get resistance 5, still not as good as all the other secondary abilities, apart from, well, Chance, who gets 4th place. So all of his abilities are useless when in chase, don't really help him out with his stunning, but mainly improve his survivability, with Chance's favor being the thing that carries him the entire time because it's his main tool, and reroll, which gives him higher health. Now, when it comes to protecting survivors, this is where Sentinels do a very nice job normally, but they don't do it equally as well. Guest gets 1st place for having a low cooldown. Not only that, but also having a priority hitbox, making his stun the easiest one to use whenever there's a team. Help him out. 2-time gets 2nd due to how big of a menace he can be to the killer, forcing him to loop. If not, he will make himself too vulnerable to backstabs. And if the killer ignores all of this, he will get stabbed, and that will waste lots of time. Although this doesn't always work whenever the killer is very aware, but whenever the killer is aware and very paranoid, it will surely slow him down, giving your team a chance to set up and put the killer to a stop. Chance gets 3rd place because of how unexpected his stun can be, and how it will likely stop one of the abilities of the killer, simply because of a long cooldown and because it doesn't really always help out your team as much, but since it's so unexpected from not only your teammates and the killer himself, can help out a lot. 1st place goes to Shedletsky because of how he must set up and takes the longest to be able to protect the teammate. The only exception being in early game when all the other Sentinels are setting up, and that's when he very much shines, but he could still be a lot better, and that's why he gets 4th place. Now, moving on to our last category, we have LMS, which is something that probably won't be happening to you if you're playing a Sentinel, but it can still happen, so you can probably be wary about that. Now, I think even though 2-time doesn't get as much health as both Guest and Chance, he does have his resurrection that teleports him to wherever he put his spawn, which is very practical and will very much be able to potentially win you an LMS, but it's not fully broken, but I do think it's very useful compared to everything else. And having your stab, which you could use more than once, is pretty useful. Now, 2nd place goes to Guest simply because of his low cooldown and how he's pretty good at protecting himself with his high health and his dual abilities to get resistance. It's very useful, not much else to say. Chance gets 3rd place since his flintlock can give him a 4-second stun, making a very, very, very dangerous stun. But since you can only use it once during the entire LMS, it doesn't really help as much as everything else, even though you can have potentially the most health during LMS. Now giving Shadletsky last place, since he also has a 40-second cooldown on his sword, so that forces him to only be able to use it once, which is not good. And not only that, but if the killer's 1x, you have to do it with extra time. Also, it makes his chicken useless in LMS because of how much pressure you're gonna have to withstand from the killer. And it just simply isn't, he just isn't built for LMS. He's mainly a survivor that prioritizes in the turn game, which is why I'm placing him on 4th place. So if we rack up the points, at the end we get the following results. Chance ends in 4th place with negative 2.5 points. Shadletsky ends in 3rd place with negative 1.5 points. Guess ends in 2nd place with 1 point, which is 1 point too many because I hate Guess. Which makes 2-time the best Sentinel with 3 points. What a surprise, guys. Nobody saw this coming now. Now, thanks for watching, and don't forget to comment who your favorite Sentinel is too. I'd love to hear your opinion. Now, just two last things actually. Apart from like and subscribe. Just because I said one Sentinel is better than the other doesn't mean one Sentinel is bad. And also, this is entirely my opinion, so if you disagree with it, it's completely normal, and I'd love to know your opinion. Please tell me if you guys like these videos, because I did stutter a lot, and this is the first time I do something like this. And I want to know if y'all want me to continue making Forsaken content. So I think I like making it, and I hope you guys like watching it. Well, anyways, see you next time.